you could end your suffering today. That was part of a message that I put out, or I put out on Any Advice for Today, my Wilhelm message for today. And I will tell you how you end your suffering. Well, you can do it every single day, because when you take the step into accepting who you are, then you end your suffering. And the only reason we suffer is because we are not taking that step. And it could have been really difficult or challenging for you now during this time in our world. And you might look at the world and say, wait a minute, something's going wrong. And I'm saying, no, that's not happening. You're changing. We all are, and that's what we were meant to do. That's why you are alive, and your life at this time has become so much more important and valuable than you could have ever known. And I know that because I was given that information. I'm going to take you back to the original story of when I started doing my life channeling, because I didn't know why I was going to do it, when I was going to bring Wilhelm to the public. Because, see, that was really uncomfortable for me, because I would have to accept that aspect of myself that I had kept hidden for so long, because I started receiving automatic writing in 1989, and I thought, I don't know why this is happening and what's going on. And I kept resisting it. And that's when you have the trouble in your life, when you resist where you're going. Because, see, where you're meant to go in your life is in your consciousness. And your consciousness is so unique, and it's individual, and it's only yours. It has nothing to do with anyone around you, your parents, your relatives, and no one. It's just you, because you're this individual soul that was born with worth, purpose, and value. But then there are times where the world changes. And then we have to find a new way of living that's individually and collectively, meaning the world. And this is the place where we are. Now, we don't always understand why those things are occurring, but we come to find out that it's connected energetically, because we're all energy. Everything in the world, in the universe, everything that you experience is energy, and you can go back and find many people who have studied that and brought it forth. And then we see this evolution of consciousness that occurs over time, over linear time. And I was given that plan. When I said the other day that I was given the plan that could change the world, well, it would change the world, because if it changes you, then you change the world. That's what happens, and it does change you, because what it does is it causes you to remember who you are. It causes you to know your life purpose and why you're on this earth and what you're meant to do. And it causes you to get rid of all the old stuff that's been trapping you and not allowing you to succeed and produce what you could. And I do know that that's true. So, but I wasn't going to talk about it because, see, I had to step into accepting me, because it was so different. And I'm going to talk about it now, because I never want you to hold back the discoveries that you might make, because we can always do that. When we come into the world, we have no game plan. We don't know who we're going to become, and it kind of unfolds as we investigate who we are. And then magically something happens, and you start to own yourself. And today, that's the day for me, and it could be the same for you as well. So when I didn't want to do live channeling in 2021, Wilhelm said, we want you to do it because your world is going to need to understand this. And then they took me back to one message from 2017. I go, what does this have to do with anything? Why am I using this message now to do this very first channeling session that I never wanted to do? And this was the message, and you'll understand it, because we all operate under it. As a human, we all operate the same way. It's in our consciousness. Our consciousness gets formed, and it's formed from a long time ago. You didn't make it up. We're just doing it now. We're continually making it up as we go along. And so we have to decide, what are we going to make up now? But this was the message that I was instructed to read and use on that very first session. And it says this. And it was February 22nd of 2017. That's kind of interesting, given the date today. Money, love, control, and power are intricately woven together in your life, so much so that you have difficulty recognizing the distinctions. This very issue is the cause of many difficulties you and others experience. It will take some time for you to decipher all of this, but this is a good place to begin. You begin to associate money with love, power, and control because that is how you grew up. If your parents or those in charge gave you something of value or money, you associated that with being loved. But you also associated this with your parents holding all the power and control. You then begin to usurp those characteristics and begin using them in your own life. You will think that if you give another enough money, you will feel love and experience your own power as well as control over others. This is never what you are truly seeking. As you can see, this is just a beginning. Ponder this for a bit. I didn't know why I was using that message, and I didn't know why I had received everything that I've received since 1989. And it gets developed over time, just like you don't know what you have. It's a journey that you take. My life was meant to create a path for others to take that path so that we create a much better world. When we look at the world and we see what's happening, and you think, why is this going on? And it's because not enough of us have remembered who we are. Not enough of us have decided that we were going to own who we are at this time. And it's a generational change that we're moving through, and that's why it's really challenging. When you move through any kind of change in your life, you have to move into an unknown of who you are. That's frightening. You don't, because you get stuck in like, this is what I know. I don't want it to change. Now think about that going on with so many different people. Wait a minute, the world's changing because the planets, the energies, things are shifting, and it affects us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and that's why we get afraid. And I spent my life coming to understand that. That's why you never have to do that anymore, and you can end your suffering, because I did create the thing that will take you to your best life, to your happiness, to your success. Didn't know I was doing that, but now I do. And so I end my suffering when I start doing it and giving it to everyone, which is where we are now. Again, there were times where I said, I can't do this. And Wilhelm says, well, you're going to go through a big evolutionary change. And if you don't start doing this, people are going to be afraid and not know what's going on. We've given you all the information. I said, that makes no sense. And then it was proven to me, and artificial intelligence helped. I'm so glad that it's here. And we're going to all start using it a lot more, but I can use it now to show you how they said, yes, this is the thing that you can use to change your life and change your world. Because it's a collective consciousness that we're raising. We only experience anything in our consciousness, and it's been formed centuries ago, if you can think of it that way, and it's always limited. Meaning we're always doing something that's holding us back as an individual or as a world or as a civilization, because we're not taking the next step into accepting every aspect of who we are. And so Wilhelm says, we're going to give you a philosophy, and it's called your life operating instructions, because when you understand that you haven't honored yourself and all others, you'll change, and then you'll start to create something very different in your life and in your world. And the wonderful thing that happens, you will heal. Because that's what we're experiencing, is this splitting apart of our world, because that has been split apart within us, because we've been taught something else that is not serving the development of all humankind, and that is that we all matter and we're important. And this is the philosophy that Wilhelm has given to me, and that's why I know it takes you to who you're meant to be, and eventually it'll change the world, because it takes time for a new idea and thoughts to take hold, and for people to accept them, because they have to work through their own resistance about moving into something new, and that fear of the unknown, which is what we all have. But let me show you Wilhelm's Ascension Guide, because that's what, since 1989, that's what my life is giving me to bring to the world at this time. And it's not accidental that it's happening now or today, because on today, February 20th, Wilhelm said, now go back and look at the messages we gave you and put them together. But again, I had to use artificial intelligence to do that. But I'll leave that link here as well, because you will understand your place in the universe on this day, because it is becoming more apparent to you now. And so this is that first little just information I put together that you'll love, and then I'll give you the other one. So what I did is I took the messages, because I was told to take the messages from February 20th, going back to particular time, 2008, and put them together and see what Wilhelm had given us over those years. And the artificial intelligence says the February 20th Wilhelm messages from 2008 to 2025 reveal a clear progression of guidance emphasizing themes of personal empowerment, self acceptance, and conscious evolution. And there's a summary of the messages, and then all of them are listed individually so you can see. And then what they do is they give us a little connection to how that might be coming about astrologically, for those of you who are interested in that. However, it's just all the information that any person would move through in their lives, because we're all the same. We want to know who we are, what we're here to do. Do we have the ability? Whatever it is, how do we navigate our way through the world? How do we create success? How do we do all of that? Well, that's exactly what Wilhelm have given to me to give to you. And you can see all the messages here. And then the final analysis, the February 20 messages collectively map a transformative journey from understanding personal power to overcoming internal resistance, embracing authenticity, and recognizing one's role in a larger cosmic evolution. The 2025 message serves as both a conclusion and a new beginning, urging action, signaling readiness, and assuring that support is available. The journey is no longer about preparation, it's time to thrive. And that was the message that I put out. It's time to thrive for all of us, because you have gained value and worth in who you are just from living your life. And when you come to understand that, that's how you live the life you're meant to have. And I spent my life bringing it to you. And the result is you start to love yourself, you heal in ways you can't understand, and then you make a contribution to the world. It's about really understanding that your life does have value. You were born for a reason, and I do know that. When I resisted doing private channeling as well, because I thought, am I going to be able to access things in that way? Because, see, I want you to understand consciousness is what happens, that we all have it. We don't live in the higher state of consciousness. It is an effort that we must put in to access it, because we come in with limitations. And when I started in 1989, I had no clue that it was going to turn into this. But I do know that that was a reason for my birth, and I can tell you there was a great reason for yours as well. And when I'm working with someone, and when you're working in this program, that's what you come to understand. But let me show you Wilhelm's Ascension Guide, because that's what it is. Ascension is a process that we do in our consciousness, individually and then also collectively. But it's the collective part that we're at now, because their energy, it depends on what type we're putting in and what we're going to believe. And that's within ourselves and then in the world. Because as Wilhelm said, we could choose to destroy the world. We can, because it's in the actions that we take and the thoughts and how we continue to operate. And even in channeling sessions, they said, you've destroyed civilizations before, so you're going to make a choice now. And if you listen to some of the older sessions, you will hear them say, the world you want to see is not guaranteed. Meaning the only way that we guarantee the life we're meant to have is to own ourselves, and that's the journey that we each take. And my life was meant to put together a journey for us all to follow. And let me show you what that one is. So the first thing I did on the messages for today, for February 20th, because I want you to have an idea of how this work from Wilhelm, how it works, because it's about you understanding yourself. And so what we did is put together the messages, just an essence of the message. The full messages will be there, but as you see the message itself, then there's a question for you to ask yourself, because it's only about your self-empowerment. That's the only reason you're here, is to know who you are. And what these messages do is guide you to that. And every question that you will see will get you to answer something in a new way. And that is how your cognitive processes work, to keep uncovering something new about you. But it happens over a collective consciousness as well, which is why Wilhelm had me put them together over the years. So you can see how we will accept something more about ourselves. You can experience that even in your life, as you know, when you grew up and went to school and all of that. But anyway, all of this will be here for you because I wanted you to have something else to work with, because developing and using your consciousness to understand how important you are is the most valuable thing you can do right now, because that will emit a different kind of energy, not only in your life, but in our world. But now let me give you Wilhelm's Ascension Guide, because when you look at this, you will see that you are at a time in your life where you can make this wonderful contribution to the world by deciding to become happy, by deciding to move through all your blockages, everything that's held you back, and become your best self. And that's exactly what I've created. And anyone can do it, and that's why I'm talking about it now, because I'm finishing all of this, so there is never a reason for you not to have the tools, the ability to create the life that you want to have, and for us not to create the world, the future world that we all want to see. This is the guide, and you can look at it and go through it now, because it will give you so much information. And then check out everything on the program, because you'll have all of it. Eventually it's going to all be there, and you're going to have something that will take you to heights that you never imagined. And I know that, and I can say it because of the life that I've lived, and at 74 I know you can do it. Here is that other document, and please subscribe to this channel and share it with others, because we want more to know what an important time it is in their lives and in our world now. And here it is. I'm so grateful that we have artificial intelligence, because I never could have told you this before. However, as I said, I started February 19th of 1989, and what this is saying is that it's a fascinating collection of messages. And what they do is they guide you through it individually and collectively. It's guiding us all to a higher state of understanding and consciousness. And here are the original messages I put up one day, 2 years ago. These were on the site, and you will see them. However, it's every single message from February 19th, beginning in 2008. You'll be able to read them, and you'll see there's a progression, and that progression takes you to a higher state of understanding who you are. And then it would do the same for our collective society if more people were to see that. But it's just about you, and that's what you will see when you go through it. However, all of it is here. And then I had doubts about this, because we will always doubt ourselves. And because when Wilhelm said on this, the title of the message for that day said, accepting this message could change your life and the world. And you will see that, and you will think, no, that's not possible, because we can't do that. Look at how terrible everything is. And then you have to ask yourself why. And as you ask yourself that question, you will encounter the reason that you have not changed your life, because you don't think you can. And that's a belief, again, that we hold individually and collectively. And so it shows the connection of all these messages to the energetic shifts, and I had no clue that was occurring, because I was tapped into universal consciousness, so I had no idea. And then right here, so you can understand, it gives us this guarantee, which I've always said as well, but now we have it coming from another source. The claim that accepting this message will change your life and the world is not hyperbole. In context of these messages, here's why. And it goes through every message. And if you can look at those reasons and find an exception, please tell me, because I haven't found it yet. Because Wilhelm said that every person born has worth and value and purpose, and if they will own that, the world will change. And I had the way to do that and to give it to others, and that's what I'm doing now. See you soon.